communities are living together and they don't fight with each other. And when they go to their respective country, then they start talking about, I'm Hindustani, I'm Pakistani, I'm Bangladeshi. So when they live here, they live united. So this country is a leading example for all of us to see that how we can all, stay together and build a foundation together and take the world forward. So Dubai is brilliant in that way. And cricket is something which unite everyone. Everyone watches cricket, and I feel very lucky to be playing this game. That there are a lot of people who connects with me while I'm on the field. They don't feel I'm Sikh, I'm Hindu, I'm Isai, or I'm Muslim. All they see is he's our Indian who's playing, representing us, and doing well for the country, and he's trying to win games for the country. And the same emotion goes for the Pakistani fellows or the Bangladeshi fellows.
Fantastic, thank you. And Sunita, I must say that you put India on the global map as well. I mean, you were the first woman to design houseboats in Egypt and hotels as well. Perhaps you can talk about what was your experience in the Middle East as a woman and as a professional interior designer from India.
Well, as an interior designer, when I first I've been working for almost 50 years. That's how long my career has been, 48 to be precise. And when I first went there in the late 70s to do an Oberoi hotel, and I walked into the meeting, firstly, there were all Egyptians there, and I think there were two Englishmen who were part of that project management. Firstly, they died of shock. They saw me in a sari, and they didn't quite think that I would even understand English. But then when we started working, it went off. But I would actually like to take this conversation forward maybe from something that Harbhajan said just now, which is he speaks about the secularity of Dubai. And I must say that that has been emphasized this morning also by the fact that Sheikh Nahyan, who has been the chief guest, and I've had the privilege of having been invited 15 years ago to a festival of thinkers that he had organized in Abu Dhabi, that he should be Minister of Tolerance. And I think that is a very important cabinet minister plus a Minister of Tolerance. And I think we as Indians need to really take cognizance of that word, because tolerance and acceptance are two very important things, and we have taken them for many years for granted, for many centuries for granted in our country, which is diverse, it's spectacular, and it is based on what we call Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb, which is, I come from Lucknow, and Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb means the easy acceptance and tolerance of each other's thoughts and religions. And I think these are very important values, and they are the underlying values of all culture. There is even, which also dictates the culture of business today. I mean, culture is all pervasive. So when they say the soft power of culture, I think that culture is really a strong power. Everything else is really secondary to it, because there's a culture of everything.
Of course, yes, I get that. Do you also believe that, Harbhajan, that we have a lot, India has a lot to learn from the UAE, because we even have the year of tolerance. Now we have started visas for artists, special visas, just to promote cultural ties between the two nations. The visa process has become a lot easier, etc. So do you believe this is the way ahead?
Well, definitely, this is the way forward. All the communities are coming together and taking things forward rather than thinking that, no, I can't do this because I don't belong to certain religion. All the religion needs to come together and respect each other, what we are doing. In my culture, I might be doing things differently, but it should be accepted to the others. So it's a great initiative what UAE and India have taken, coming together and taking things forward, which is a great thing.
And how are you planning to take it forward? A little birdie tells me there's a academy coming up. Can you confirm, or is there more traction to that particular news?
Well, I would like UAE locals to play the game. So, for that to have for me to have an infrastructure ready here. So I need some local support here who can come in and give me the required things I need to run the academy. So if I can run the academy here, see, cricket is a big game. It connects everyone. So we need the locals, UAEs, to play the game. They have a national team, but all the Indian and Pakistani guys are playing in that team. But game will not grow unless you have locals playing the game. You know, if you see Indian, they're playing the game because this game is big in India, and South African are playing this game because it's a big game in South Africa. Not at the moment, it's not big in UAE, but
That's true.
in years to come, 15 years, 20 years from here onwards, all they need is one hero to be produced from their locals. So if one hero is produced from my academy, which I'm trying to open here, you know, obviously it'll show them a way forward, you know, if he can achieve, and anybody can achieve.
That is true. And do you think that's the name of the game as well, Sunita? You know, to roll with the times as well, perhaps do your own bit. You know, that's the way you pay it forward as a designer. And, you know, how do you pay it forward to the UAE?
You know, I've never worked in the UAE, so I have no experience of working here. But I think the way forward, I have done extensive work in Egypt because I've done several of the big hotels for the Oberois and their hotel boats on the Nile. And in Iraq, many years ago, I did the Hotel Babylon, so which was then being set up for NAM. But then, because of the war situation, that moved to Delhi. But the culture of the region is the same. I have also done work in Kuwait. As I said, I haven't worked here, but I'm sure that much of what you are saying, Harbhajan, it would be true that if you have local support, which is required for anywhere, I'm sure vice versa is also the case, that things can move forward, and particularly if you produce a hero from the local population,
That's true.
then of course that immediately springboards it into another level altogether.
That is true. And I also know that you dabbled in a cookbook along with your mother. And I think food is the biggest leveler. I think, you know, culturally, I think if there's a table full of people and you're from different countries, speak about food, and that's one thing that unites people. People have a take, and they also love to talk about, you know, which is the best burger in town, or perhaps which is the best shawarma in town. So in your case, with your experience, keeping the experience of your book in mind, what would you say? Does food also play a very strong role in cultural bonding?
I think it does. I mean, you know, everybody eats food. And the wonderful thing is, therefore, we have such different cuisines from all over the world, particularly in Dubai, which I know has wonderful restaurants. But if we take India, for instance, India has such amazing regional cuisine. I mean, people often ask me, how come that you're a designer and you run an architectural firm and you've written a cookbook? But the thing is that we are all not pigeonholed into one thing. I mean, all of us can do several things simultaneously. And my mother is a very well-known cook, and this is the one that I've co-authored with her. This is the book, the Lucknow Cookbook. And this book came about quite serendipitously because for a publisher of mine, I'm doing a very large coffee table book on built heritage in India. And because my mother's cookbook was being published by somebody else, and unfortunately that person, the commissioning editor, died, so it went into limbo. And since my mother's 94, this book came out last year. I was very keen that her book comes out before anything else that I'm writing. And well, it did, on the condition that I co-authored it with my mother, and I wrote a 10,000 word introduction to my parents' story. I thought that was the easiest thing to do. It became the most difficult 3 months of my life because I studied literature, so I thought, ये तो बड़ी, I mean, this is a very easy thing to write, and since they only wanted 150 recipes of the 345 that my mother had written, but of course my mother then went on to produce 1,000 more recipes which she already had. So, I felt overwhelmed by the fact
see,
of
it's not as easy.
everything that was happening, but I'm so glad that for my mother's sake, the book was sold out within 3 weeks. Now
That's amazing.
it is in its 5th printing. The book has been to every single major literary festival in India, also been launched in Singapore. And so sometimes you never know where a journey takes one.
That's true, that's true. Other than food, Sunita, there's also the world of movies, which is a big unifying factor. Sunita is not making a debut yet. It's not too late, a cinematic debut, but there's Harbhajan, of course, who's going to make his cinematic debut in South India. So he's going to make his debut in Tamil movies, I'm told. There you go. You already have a few people who are going to buy your tickets for sure just to watch you. So tell us about your acting. What prompted you to actually make a debut in Tamil cinema? Is it Chennai Super Kings link?
Well, to all the Chennai people who are sitting here, Vanakkam. Yes, Vanakkam. Vanakkam, sir. Yana solrama?
There you go.
Tamil teruma? Kunjum kunjum. So see, I've learned already few words.
Impressive, impressive. He knows the basics.
So I'll come to this part, but ma'am, since you were talking about food, I'm a food lover. So give me the book as well, so I'll tell my wife to also, follow some recipe from this and start cooking for me. And you come from Lucknow, outstanding food, outstanding food. I mean, the kebabs to the biryanis are the best over there. So I come to Dubai to have kebabs, but to be very frank, this is the similar kind of a kebab you can get in Lucknow. Lucknow is amazing for food, and so is Dubai. So you can see the connection there.
Of course.
Come to Delhi and I will give you the best biryani that you can have. Because I think I make the best biryani in the city.
Lovely.
Though my parents adopted Lucknow because my mother's from Balochistan, from Quetta.
Okay.
And my father's from Rajput, settled in Lahore. And Lahore where I was born. So their journey was because of partition and undivided India from Lahore to Lucknow.
Lahore to
And both cities actually are known for very, very good food. Because in Lahori hospitality, like Lucknow's, is unparalleled.
Bilkul. And then coming to my my debut in Tamil movies, obviously I was playing 10 years for Mumbai Indian, if or you might not know, I played for 10 years for Mumbai Indians, which is obviously owned by Mukesh Bhai and Neeta Bhabhi over there. And a lot of Maharashtrian crowd was like, very much, this is Bajji is our boy. He's not Punjabi, but he's Maharashtrian because he plays for Mumbai Indians. And I played 10 great years with them, and then suddenly I was bought over by Chennai Super King, which is like Mumbai Indian and Chennai Super King match is like India-Pakistan match. So all these years we had so much of tussle between these two teams. Then when they bought me, I was wondering why they bought me, and how the crowd will react to it. I am playing for Chennai Super King, and how will I connect to them? So for me, to best way to connect with the local crowd was to speak their own language. So I learned a bit of the language, and I started putting out a tweet in Tamil. So they started replying to me, they started connecting to me. So I connected so well with them, so now they offered me a movie. They think I'm a new Rajnikant there, which is not going to happen. But it's kind of something new challenge, as ma'am said. You have to see the other things as well, what you can do. It's not just the architect part you can do. You have done the book. I'm sure you must be doing a lot of other things as well. So I played the game, and I'm still playing, but at the same time, acting I've been doing from the day I born. We are all actor. we are born actors. So we every day we do acting. So it's just the facing the camera is a different thing. So it's not gonna be something new. I've faced cameras for about 20 years on the field. Not just one camera, 20 cameras are following us wherever you go, and your actions are, taken into the public. So this is a new challenge, and I hope it'll come good. If not, at least I tried.
Right, of course. I have to talk to you about the social media presence as well. I know they follow you, you have become a bigger star due to that. But do you at any point feel bad that your life is being scrutinized because your privacy is invaded at all points? Culturally, you might be a lot more famous. If you look at it, people know you better, but do you lament the advent of social media?
Well, social media is a great tool if you know how to use it. People have used it for to make the best of it. So you need to understand the kind of message you want to put in, and it should connect with everyone. You don't want to write something which is stupid. Sorry to say, but you should be connecting with people, with your emotion, with your heart, and with your at least purity, with the message who you want to communicate to the fans or the people you want to connect with. So in the end, there are few people, they might not like it, but it's just not about those 10, 15, 20 odd people. They might not like it, but it gives you the freedom to speak and tell your part, what exactly happened. Suppose if anything happened here, at least I can say my kind of a story, this is what happened. But sometime your story doesn't go out. So it's a great tool to say the right things, and the right public will always, vouch for those right things.
Right, it's about ferreting good from the bad. What about you, Sunita? You have been in the field for 48 years, been very active. Do you use social media as a tool to perhaps put your work out there?
I'm another generation. I mean, even
You
this.
never know. You have to always ask the question. Never underestimate the power of another
No,
person.
I don't know. My generation is different. Even this book I wrote by hand, and my children thought that which age of the dodo do I belong to? And I had to keep telling them that, look, 40 years ago, people submitted handwritten manuscripts. So I'm another generation. I know that it sounds terribly sort of out of it.
No, it
but
sounds romantic as well.
No, but so I'm not, I have a Facebook account which I hardly ever look at. And
Fair enough. You're not missing out much. Let me tell you that much. But thank you so much. It was it was very wonderful talking to you both. We are going to throw the floor open to some questions because I'm sure there are many cricket fans as well as interior design fans in here. Please raise your hand if you have a question, and you can ask Harbhajan Singh and Sunita Kohli the question of your choice. It's a rare opportunity. Make use of it, guys. This is the most tamest audience I've ever seen. Is it the food that you all ate? Are you all in a siesta mood? Yes, there's this person who's also going to buy your ticket for the movie, I think. Yes. Can we have a mic here?
No, he wants to get his housemaid. From
One
them.
second, I'll just pass it over to him.
Hi, Harbhajan. My name is Anil. And thank you. We took a selfie with you. You are so kind of you. My question goes back to the movie which you are doing. Would you like to come in for my movie as well? Because we are doing a movie. I mean, I'm giving you openly an offer to come.
You made me already Rajnikant, sir, by giving me another offer.
No, I'm just saying because this is based on the Punjabi, concept, and most likely we'll do it in Dubai. So since you are going to be part of Dubai soon, so why don't you join?
Okay, if I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think I look like a hero?
Sir, I'm not going to give you hero role for sure.
Do I look like a villain?
You look like a cricketer, so there's a job for you.
अच्छा चलो ठीक है cricketer का role है मैं कर लूँगा I can't act but the only thing I can do is this is the way I am
सर भंगड़ा तो
Nice.
पालोगे ना भंगड़ा पाएंगे सर
अब भंगड़ा तो सबको आता होगा
हाँ बिल्कुल
come let's do some
I can come.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
aced that
Thank you
question.
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant, you already have a movie offer. That's not bad.
सर
Such
मैं
a
आपका
fruitful
नंबर लेके
opportunity.
जाऊंगा.
Any other questions? You can ask about cricket ideally.
We
or-
have a gentleman right here up front. Yes, sir.
Yes. Go ahead, sir. Oh, wow. He's a proactive producer, I must say. Thank you, sir. I think they're already discussing remuneration and script here. There's a time and place for everything, sir. Yes. Yeah, they've locked in the script and the salary. Good job.
No, this is, they are making a movie on a religion and on a Sikhism, which I feel I'll be more than happy to be part of. If आप मुझे समझते हो उस काबिल हूँ मैं, तो then it's my privilege to do something for the society.
That's a great thought, indeed. Congratulations. What about you, sir?
I have a question for Sunita ma'am. Assalamu alaikum ma'am. Saud Ahmed from Lucknow. I work in Dubai, but I'm also from Lucknow. And having heard about this cookbook which your mother has written, just a small question. Do you love tunde kebab more or you love kakori kebabs more?
The nation wants to know.
The nation wants to know.
The question was about
What kind of kebab do you like? Can you repeat your question as well?
The question is, ma'am, if given a choice between the tunde kebab and the kakori kebab,
Kakori kebab.
which one would you prefer
kakori kebab.
and why?
Why? Because I don't know. One, we've grown up with both, and in tunde kebab, though, of course, nobody can make excepting the family of tunde. But kakori kebab, I like both, but kakori kebab is a greater favorite. But in our house, I tend to make shami kebab.
I am coming for that.
Please do, please do.
What about you, Harbhajan? You said you love kebabs in Dubai, which is the best place, before we take another question. The best kebab in Dubai.
Well, I have been to a place in Dubai Mall, and I don't know the restaurant name, but if I walk through that, I know where exactly to get it from.
Oh, I see.
It's a kebab. What do you call kofta?
Oh, fantastic.
Kofta.
Kofta kebab. Yeah, so
Kofta
it's
kebab.
minced meat.
They call kofte kebab.
Ji,
in
kofta kebab. So that particularly place, whenever I come to Dubai, I must go there and eat. It's in the food court. They must have other restaurants as well, which I don't know, but it's unbelievable.
Interesting.
But
Any
you
other?
see the, sorry,
Go ahead.
kofte, kebabs and everything, as you know that all of it started, is done because of you have it from the Middle East right into North India,
Ji.
kebabs.
Ji.
And this is an example of how down the Silk Route, it wasn't only trade that traveled,
Ji.
and Dubai is a place for trading,
Ji.
but also art, culture, and cuisine also traveled. So and then it kept getting changed from country to country. But this is what travel does, and then culture keeps mutating itself. And the interesting thing is that how these things change, and yet, you know, today we can, because so much else is available to us, we can know where the source of something is. For instance, in Lucknow in the winter, you know, there's garam shorbe, garam dahi ka shorba, which means hot yogurt soup. And it's only when I went to Istanbul and they had hot yogurt soup, I said, really? But this we have in Lucknow. And actually that soup traveled from Istanbul to Lucknow via all these places. So food has wonderful journeys. And Dubai, I must say, is blessed with wonderful restaurants.
I know it's a culinary destination as well. And there's a young man.
One final question is what we have
Yes.
time for.
Oh, I see. The time is limited, so you're the lucky one. Go ahead.
Paji Sasrikal, my question is to you. My name is Ashok Mengi. I'm here from GEMS Education. This question is a bit difficult. Who is the most difficult Indian and non-Indian batsman for you from a bowler's perspective to bowl for?
if I'm bowling too.
Yeah, if you are bowling, yeah, obviously.
Well, I think I wouldn't have liked to bowl to Virender Sehwag. He was probably the most destructive batsman who played the game in terms of, who could actually take you on and rip you apart. And apart from Indian batsmen, I think the most difficult batsman I bowled to was Brian Lara. He was a genius. People compare him with Sachin Tendulkar, but Sachin Tendulkar is Sachin Tendulkar. Glad I played with him and in his team, otherwise I would have never been able to get him out. But Lara, I got him out a couple of times. But he was still one of the best batsmen I have played with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our
everyone for being
audience.
such a wonderful audience as well. And thank you, Sunita, and thank you, Harbhajan. We are now going to definitely go to Dubai Mall to eat and, of course, read all her recipes. Funnily enough, we spoke a lot about food and a bit of culture. Thank you for this. Such a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manjusha, for weaving it all together so beautifully. A round of applause for our chairperson and a round of applause for Mrs. Sunita Kohli. We're looking forward to that good biryani, ma'am. I'm sure now all of us want a taste of it. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, as we look forward to Harbhajan's movie and a lot of fantastic games ahead, we wish all three of them the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for them yet again. Taking interior designer to a new level and taking cricket and films to a new level. Once again, I'd like to thank both Mrs. Sunita Kohli, Mr. Harbhajan Singh for their kind views. Ladies and gentlemen, our next session is on powering logistics and infrastructure network through India-UAE relations. May I please welcome Mr. Shankar Subramaniam, Executive Director, National Association of Freight and Logistics on stage. As I request our guests to please remain seated, may I please welcome Mr. Shankar Subramaniam, Executive Director, National Association of Freight and Logistics, to join us on stage. May I please request our guests to take a seat? Ladies and gentlemen, may I please request all of you to take a seat. We're about to begin with our next session. Over to Mr. Subramaniam. Sir, all yours.
Yes. Good afternoon. After a very interesting session of sports, culture, we are back into business of freight and logistics, which is one of the links which connects India with UAE. Yeah. If you all know that one of the largest trading partners of UAE is India. One of the largest export and import takes place between India and UAE. And in terms of the logistic professionals, 70 to 80% of the logistic professionals working in logistics in UAE is also belong from India. So this subcontinent has been one of the main drivers of the logistics. And today, UAE, which is one of the largest port in the world, from a country which started a port in late 1960s, has become one of the top 10 ports in the world. And that's purely through the power of logistics. So the topic which I'm just going to talk about is it has been an infrastructure-based setup. So UAE has proved that yes, you need high infrastructure, you need a lot of assets to build up a port, and to put up an airline, you need a lot of infrastructure and this. But during the times have changed. Now we are moving into a digital era wherein these infrastructures are moving from pure logistics, pure infrastructure to a non-asset based. So this is the strength which I feel between the two countries we have. Because India, which is predominantly an country with a lot of talents, a lot of expertise in the field of shipping, maritime, IT sectors and bringing up new technology. And here we have UAE, which is ready to experiment this new technology for the world. So with these two dual advantages, how we can take advantage of this setup. So on that background, now if you look at the future, we will be seeing future with robots giving us handshake instead of people giving handshakes. So that is robotics. Then you have IoT, information of technologies coming up. Then we have drone for deliveries. So it's been proved that drones can do small parcel deliveries, and only the parameters has to be set in. Dubai, UAE is already ready with that, and you have started seeing some of the deliveries in some zones on a trial basis already existing. So there is a potential. Then we are talking about unmanned vehicles. We have successfully, UAE has put in a metro system in last 10 years, running unmanned successfully for the last 10 years, moving people from one end to another. So now again, these are the areas where the collaborations or technology exchange can take place between these two countries. What's interestingly, the change which is coming up in the logistic domain is, gone are the days where a logistic or an industry was dependent on people oriented. Now it is technology oriented. The size and the variation of a company is from 100 people is shrinking to 10 people. But you have technology and you have equipments which can do the job of 100 people by the 10 people. So they have been enablers for the technology is an enable for the future. So the trend in the future is going to be more of own companies, small SME setups, app-based technology. So again, this is another space where between our countries we can exchange ideas and come out with policies wherein a new generation app can replace a conventional form of business. Gone are the days where you will go to a restaurant and taste a kebab. Even, I don't know whether the technology is developed that, whether you can sitting at your drawing room or on your smartphone, you can get a taste or a smell of a food. So it's not too long that we will have those technology. But till such technologies, using Zomato or using any of the app, we can find out the restaurants, you can find out the chef, you can get the menus, you can get the price, and you can even know what sort of people responded, what sorts of comments comes from that. So it's just a finger touch. So whether it is food, whether it is whether it is a complicated engineering process or to a construction process, the technology is taking place. So the power is that if we collaborate our ideas together, come out with apps, come out with the thing, India as a market can produce big technologies, and UAE as a market can use these technologies and market it internationally. So on that page, I would like to see that there is the change which is coming up is a non-asset based or technology based logistics. So that is where we have an edge and which we would like to support. Being part of a freight and logistic network, National Association of Freight and Logistics, we as an organization established in UAE for the last 26 years, we had made collaborative efforts with Indian Freight Forwarders Association, the FFA. Now together, FFA and NAFL has participated in the last FIATA World Congress, which was held in Delhi, wherein about 1,200 international think tanks came together and started looking at the business in a different way, how we can expand the port operations, how we can bring in technology, what sorts of new things between the two countries can do. So they have taken back some of the technology, advanced technologies of UAE, wherein today a customs clearance in UAE can be done through a mobile phone. UAE will be the first, Dubai will be the first city in the world which will be a smart city which will have the entire transaction of customs can be done through a smartphone. So these type of innovative technologies can be exchanged and can be brought in for the future. The future, as you see, the conventional warehouse forklifts and people will be replaced by the small machines which can go up to the delivery point and offload. There is no need for a conventional forklift to operate on it. So these are the technology which is coming in place. As you have seen, Hyperloop, which is another form of transportation which is going to be coming in the future, wherein it will not be part of any port requirements. It can work between two ports. A distance of 1,200 kilometers can be covered in less than 1 hour. So that's the type of technology which is going to come, which has been put in place. So the movement of freight will not be restricted only to the sea or air or land transport. You may find new modes of transport. So some countries which do not have seaports will be converting their seaports into the railway ports. So the mechanism of operation will be through rail networks or through this hyperloop type of networks. So that is the technology, that is the change which is coming up in terms of infrastructure. And all these pictures which I have deposited, these are in some way operational in Dubai on a test run, whether it is the forklift operations or the drone operations, or we call it as hyperloop network setup, or electronically connecting people, or all already in place like the UAE. The science of change in terms of power in engineering and logistics is in terms of warehouse management. A few years back, an ERP solution or a warehouse management system was considered as an ultimate system. Today, a warehouse is not just fulfilling the job of just loading and unloading or keeping an inventory. The expectation of the people is a warehouse should be a fulfillment center, where a person sitting in some malls or in a smartphone orders an iPhone, and he expects to be delivered in the same day, and in some cities in the same hour. So that is the power of technology which has come up, and all this are run in the bottom through a warehouse management fulfillment center. So when we have heard about Amazon fulfillment center, we've considered that to be the ultimate in terms of fulfillment. Now these type of technology, again coming back into this region, today in India, the penetration of e-commerce is so much that the future generations should look in the supply chain logistic vertical as a future career-oriented areas. Because you may find that in India we have more engineers, but placing them in jobs is becoming a challenge. So the fields like warehousing, logistics, technology-based app development are the future. So again, here, if you find it, there is a robotics element coming in for physical jobs, because the modern generation do not want to be working hard like the current generation of 16 hours, 18 hours. They like to work smart. And when they say smart working, which means they want to be more productive, but at less effort. And that will be enabled by the technology. So these are some of the technologies which is shaping up. So when you see the change in the technology is on these areas, that is automation in terms of fulfillment centers. Now, very interesting thing which is coming up is the economics of logistics. Now, we were talking about trade wars, we were talking about globalization was a buzzword for about few years back. Now, looking at the current business scenario, if any business owners in this room or anywhere in the world can predict the demand pattern, that how his product is going to be taken by the customers in the next 6 months or next 1 year, it will be a very big success. Because today, you are not able to identify what the customer wants. The expectation of customer is unbelievable and sometimes very difficult to make it. But if you are not in that space of giving him what he wants, he does not interested in the product. So the challenge of today's businessman is to identify the demand. Earlier, to start up a business, you need some financial capitals and you need a basic infrastructure or a starting place. Today, we are talking about virtual space. Then earlier we said if you have the right people, I think we can get the business done. Today, how do you get the right people? People are not interested working in such low salaries for a long working hours. They want to be more effective, and from the day one, they want to be more technology oriented. So identifying the right people is a big challenge. Identifying the right business is a bigger challenge. And more challenging is how can I reach my customers? Today, the state of affairs of the industry is such that if you send an email to somebody on or an inquiry, you need to follow it up with a telephone call, or in some cases, you need to follow up with a WhatsApp call or WhatsApp message just to see the email. Because a normal business executive and his phone has something like 60 to 80 emails at any given time. And he's not going to sort it out unless he finds it's a priority, it's not going to open up every email and respond. So reaching out customer is the biggest challenge which we are facing it today. It's not a business. The business is there. People are buying. There are still people are consuming it. It's only the vendors have changed. The companies have changed. But there is a demand. But to reach out to the customer is a challenge. And that challenge can only be fulfilled by the space of technology. And what is the interesting change which is happening in the economics of logistics is, gone are the days where you will be having conventional mode of transport, like cheaper goods will come from China, or you will get industrial goods, engineering goods will come from Germany, or you may find that technology, IT products will go from India. It need not be. The market could be that companies in the Asia will be competing with products in Asia, and people in the Middle East may be looking at Asia for their supplies rather than Europe. So the geopolitics, geo-market is changing, and it is more of local distribution than global distribution. So if you have the right product and if you are in the right market, the market will be around you. You don't need to travel too long. Yeah? So that's the change which is happening. That's why you will find the global trade, the shipping companies are reducing the number of size. Like a few years back, about 10 years back, there were 60 international shipping companies operating in the world. Now that size has come down to 40. That means 20 major shipping companies are merged together, because the size of operation requires larger vessels with more vessels than smaller vessels. So that's the paradigm shift which is happening in terms of the shipping industry. So you do not find the conventional shipping company like United Arab Shipping Companies, American President Line, P&O Ned Lloyd. These were the traditional brand name companies which thought there is no end to the life. That future is there. They have been serving for 50 years. They will serve for 50 years. Today, none of these three companies exist. They have been brought over by bigger companies, and today their names is gone. So there will be new brands, new products, new geo markets. So if you are in the right space with the right market, the future is bright. Then some of the attitude skills, which is why I brought up this point, is in terms of identifying the people. Today, the interview patterns are not anymore on the CV. People are being interviewed based on certain personality traits and certain psychological tests, which gives the person a perception that yes, this is the right guy for the right job. So identifying the right attitude of the staff or to your team player is very important. So you need to change yourself. If you are a business owners, when you are hiring your staff, what sort of skill staff you needed, how he will going to be compatible, and if he is not compatible, are you ready to change with him? Because the future is the young brand is going to drive us. So we are ready for it, and to have us on the right thing, we should have that sort of an attitude of problem solving, ability to manage, and then hear what they feel rather than just respond or speak out. So we need to be more patient. Some of the issues which is in the industry which is happening is the rising rates, because the market size is getting shrunk. A conventional freight forwarder or a logistic companies were carrying 20 feet and 40 feet boxes, and they've been thought that this has been existing for last 40 years, so people will still import and export through boxes. Now we have seen the size of the box has changed. Instead of containers, people are sending small parcels. So what was thought as a LCL cargo, now it's even come down to a piece cargo. So if you see a truck with full load is a big thing. Nowadays you will find a truck with more parcels of small size than big size. So that's one of the reasons why you will find the rising prices. Technology, of course, we have spoken about it. Then in terms of payment, the banks also, we are having the new technology, which is blockchain technology, which is coming up, which will ease out the business. Then you have the big data. So in the non-oil place, data is going to be the oil. The new energy will be the oil. So that's the future. Then the customer expectations. We were being brought up with a concept called customer service or customer. Now the buzzword is customer expectations. So in human side, we used to call as HR manager or human relationship. Now it is called human capital. So the technology is changed. With the change of technology, now you are trying to fulfill customer expectations, not the products. If the customer, if you are satisfied with the customer's expectation, the product sells or service sells on its own. So you need to beat the customer's expectations. Again, everything cannot be done by everybody. Every product and services, you can't do the investment yourself. So it works on collaborations. So there is a possibility that the places like Middle East, they have investment capacities, they have funds at their disposal. Places like India, where there's opportunity and the big markets. So if we can bring in collaboration between the place of availability and place of requirement, that's the success story will be. So using India-UAE relations, both in terms of training, both in terms of expertise or technology, we can do a lot. So if anybody is looking out for new technologies or how to collaborate, be at NAFL, we are open to these type of strategies. We can get connected you to the right people, and we can take these discussions further. Sustainability is the most important things of the world today. Today, you will find some of the business groups which were existing for the last 40, 50 years may not be in the list of top 100 companies. You will find more and more small and medium-sized companies taking over the name. I don't know, many of you must have been, when we are in the childhood days, we heard about a brand called Bajaj. Yeah? So Bajaj was one of the successful automobile companies of India. And after the reigns of 70 years, when Bajaj was handed over to the new generation, his son, the first and foremost decision that when the son took over was that he says, first the product will remove the name Bajaj from all the products. In future, it will be the brands which will be known, because the moment you say Bajaj, people associate to the few old type of engine, the old stories, the old songs. But the modern generation requires energy and power. So their bike was named as Pulsar. Even though it was Bajaj Pulsar, Bajaj is a smaller name, it's known as Pulsar. So that's the type of change. Even the new generation do not want even to copy the old names, because the old names associate with some old feelings, which is not the new generation looks for. So that is the type of transformation which is happening in the industry, which is something which is eye-opening for us. Last but not the least, the cyber security. We move everything into digital world. Yes, there are some risks associated with it. So before you start your system, make sure that your system is secured and protected. So these are some of the points. The reason, first of all, I thank again the Economic Times Forum for giving us this opportunity. The purpose of this presentation was to bring in us with the generation to say that yes, we are going through a struggle times in terms of market conditions and business opportunities, but there is opportunity waiting for us. And fortunately, these new technologies do not have the skills or do not have people to take it. So that will be our opportunity, provided we work on that space. Yeah? With that, I conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point, our next session, which is on the business of security and its significance in urban development, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ahmed Saror Al-Marar, business partner, SecureCam IT Solutions. May I please request all of you to put your hands together and welcome him on stage.
Good afternoon to all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be standing here at this very important event. We are really happy that the Economic Times has taken the initiative to bring together business people from both countries to exchange ideas. Collaboration. Our countries have several years of friendship which has enhanced our cultural and economic ties. As we march forward, let us all join hands to make the world a safer place. As security and excuse me? Something's wrong with the... No, it's not showing. See, it's just... It's not showing here. good afternoon to all distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, wait. It keeps going really fast. Okay, you can throw it. Okay. Okay. So excuse me for this. The screen here isn't showing. Can you go back? It keeps like going really fast. I can't read it. Okay. So, good afternoon. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Good afternoon to all distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be standing here at this very important event that aims to enhance the business cooperation between India and the United Arab Emirates. We are really happy that the economic ties has taken the initiative to bring together between business people from both countries to exchange ideas and enhance collaboration. Our countries have several years of friendship, which has enhanced our cultural and economic ties. As we march forward, let us also join hands to make the world a safer place. A secure environment is one of the key elements of the development of any society, both economical and social. A person should be able to move around freely without crime. Such a state will automatically facilitate more employment opportunities, business growth, and natural result in a betterment of a community. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, the day a woman can walk freely on the roads at night, that day we can say India has achieved independence. This is true to every country and society. The best example is the UAE. As a citizen of this country, I am really proud to say that His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan laid great emphasis on developing UAE as one of the safest places on earth. The current leadership has made it into a reality, and today we are glad to be living and working in a country that is one of the safest places in the world. It is also a great pleasure to note that one of the most important elements of the UAE's economic development is the safe environment that the administration has provided us. I would like to mention here that nations spend not millions, but billions of dollars every year in its efforts to keep its society safe towards prevention, identification, and prosecution of criminals. It is estimated that in the United States alone, the annual cost of crime range a massive $690 billion to more than $3 trillion. But honestly, there is no commonly used approach to estimate the actual cost. There are both tangible and intangible costs of crime, which makes it extremely difficult to develop an accurate estimate. People commit crimes when they think the benefits are greater than the costs. There are studies in which indicate that those who commit crimes do so as they think their chances of getting caught are less. On the other hand, when the risk of getting caught are higher, they tend to commit crime less frequently. So, can CCTV prevent crime? It is commonly understood that CCTV strategy acts as a very deterrent, especially when levels of surveillance are increased within a target area. It basically helps prevent crime by reducing the number of criminal opportunities and increase the perceived risk. Therefore, I would like to emphasize that an effective law enforcement system coupled with an active monitoring mechanism will go a long way. I'm not just helping prevent crime, but increase the possibility of an effective criminal justice system. It is not just the responsibility of the government or its security agencies to ensure that our society is safe, secure, and crime-free. There is a lot that the corporation can do, but to be honest, not enough has been done towards this regard. This is where SecureCam comes into the picture. Inspired by the development of the UAE, we at SecureCam have taken it as a mission to take this success story to the other parts of the world. Our chairman and CEO, Rejoy Thomas, is a firm believer that the world can be a secure place, and when markets join hands, the unachievable can be achieved. So finally, after much deliberation, we launched a worldwide campaign, Secure Our City, in October 2018, with a mission to equip more than 1.5 million buildings across key cities with security camera solutions. Every installation as part of the campaign will include a free IP camera system, complete with all the cabling and installation as a 2-year warranty. We aim to install a minimum of 10,000 cameras in each city. We choose this number as our research suggests that key areas in an average city across the world can be effectively covered within the above said number. However, we would be more willing to increase the number to suit the adequate requirements given the need and the demand arising out of the registration campaign. We have launched an online portal where users from across the world can log in and register their request for a free installation. The cameras will be installed at the entry and exit points, enabling the surveillance of the property and also the pavement and the road adjacent to the building. In every city, we will deploy 5 teams consisting of expert technicians to facilitate the implementation. It is expected to take about 24 months to complete one city. As part of the implementation process, we could be working with key stakeholders within the administration, such as the law enforcement agencies, municipal authorities, and local governments. The first phase of the campaign will be rolled across 13 countries, starting with India and Sri Lanka. Except in India, where multiple cities are chosen. In all other countries, the campaign will cover just one city. The first set of free CCTV cameras will be installed on January 20, 2020, starting with Kochi in Kerala in India. There has been an immense response from the public over the past year, especially from the NRI population living across the GCC and the rest of the world. In India, the campaign will also cover 4 other cities, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, and Ahmedabad, in a phased manner. The project implementation in each city is estimated to cost about $5.7 million. A campaign of such magnitude would require more coordinated approach, where we are working towards creating a title sponsorship slot for every city and corporation can participate in the program as a key title sponsor. For example, the campaign in Kochi can be called as a XYZ Secure Our City Kochi. Similarly, the campaign in Mumbai can be titled ABC Secure Our City Mumbai. The idea of inviting sponsors for each city is to enable the optimum use of advertising space within a city, thereby enabling co-branding and also allow corporate funding for campaign benefits. Let us join hands to make this a safer place. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir. We'd like to take a moment in acknowledging your kind presence and to felicitate you for the unique, innovative project Secure Our City campaign. I'd like to present you with a token of our appreciation and more. May I please welcome Mr. Ashish Makhija to join us on stage. And present, sir, with the token of our appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as we felicitate him for the unique, innovative project Secure Our City campaign. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Makhija. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready with our next session, which is the bilateral sectoral dialogue exchange in education and technology, role of technology in our next interesting session. May I please request all of you to welcome on stage Professor Christopher Abraham, CEO and Head, Dubai Campus, SP Jain School of Global Business Management. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as he steps forward. May I please present to you Professor Arun Saha, Director, Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Milan. May I request all of you to please put your hands together and welcome him. And our session chair, Mr. Anthony Hibeka, Chief Executive Officer, MENA Research Partners. Please put your hands together for them all.
Okay, hello again. So last session after lunch, end of day, we should make it more of a enthusiastic. It's going to be marked by technology and how education is being transformed by education at least. So we're going to have two angles here. One, how is really education embracing technology in the way of teaching generations, and how also schools, higher education are also adapting to technology, etc., by adding new curriculums, etc. So as a start, Professor Abraham, if you would like, let's say, if you take, for example, schools, or let's say different sectors, last 5 years, I mean, technology has disrupted lots of ways how businesses are operating, etc. But if you take schools or a typical classroom, from now, as you compare it 50 years ago, you still have the same classroom there. So today, especially education in Dubai and more in India is going towards quality education. How are you embracing technology in the way of educating your students?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for staying back for the afternoon. You know, normally in conferences like this, the crowds keep thinning, so thank you very much for staying back. I think historically, education has always been at the back seat for the right and the wrong reasons. So for centuries, we have a legacy from the Industrial Revolution. So if you see a classroom of the Industrial Revolution, it is stereotyped, straight-rowed, straight-jacketed, and then you have a classroom in the 21st century, which is pretty similar. But I think there are a few disruptors, and you have representation from two very interesting India-based but global schools. One is in technology, one is in management and technology. And we are what we call the disruptors in technology and education. So what we have done consensuously in the last 5 to 10 years is to ensure that technology plays an extremely important role in the impartation of knowledge and education, because technology by itself cannot make a change, but technology used and applied in the right manner can definitely make a difference. What do I mean by that? Now, in the erstwhile scenario, you would have to have people coming from different parts of the country or different parts of a village, converge in a place, and do education. But today we are talking about technologies that are available, which can reach out to the world. Some of you may be familiar with the concept of MOOCs, Massive Online Open Courseware, which means universities across the world, some of the best ones, can offer the courses almost free of cost to students and professionals across the world. So because of this connectivity, I think there's a new revolution that is coming up in education, and as educational institutions, I think it's an imperative to ensure that we do it. Now take artificial intelligence, robotics, big data, Internet of Everything. In fact, Internet of Things is moving to IoE, which is Internet of Everything. Augmented reality, virtual reality. These are no longer buzzwords. These are realities that are disrupting industry after industry, and if education doesn't wake up to the disruption of technology, I think we will be left behind. So what we have done in SP Jain School of Global Management is to embed these within to provide what we call smart learning experiences. Using the neuroscience of learning, applying technology, we have now personalized the learning to every single student. We even have affective computing that checks the mood of the student to see whether he's bored or whether he's dull or whether he's happy, whether he's engaged. And I think this is the way we need to move forward. And when we do this, the engagement becomes much more enhanced. The student enjoys. I mean, the biggest challenge for the teachers and professors today is to how do you engage an 18-year-old without him looking into his mobile phone or tablet. And I think technology there can play a good role in exciting them to be engaged enough.
Exactly. So today technology should at least be able within schools, either K-12, higher education, is to unlock the potential of the average students. Okay. So how do you see this from your end?
I would like to first thanks to Economic Times and Ms. Priyanka for inviting me to this, which is a great opportunity for me to speak on this, where BITS Pilani, which is very much adopted the technology for education and administrations. I tell you first two things we have to accept it. If you see the changes happened in various other areas like mobile transport or anything you say, you don't see the changes happen in the class teaching. You maybe 70s end where I saw the classroom and things, it is more or less same today also. I think there is a big change is required. And that one aspect. Other aspect, the concept on university or college is going to be changed. Today somewhat changed also. It is no more a geographical location of a boundary. It has gone beyond the boundary, beyond country, throughout the globe, students can be there. What I mean to say, I'm giving that how we adopted it. You see, BITS Pilani, if I say, in 80s or 90s, there's only one campus with 250 admission or intake per year. Today, this year, BITS Pilani with 4 campuses, the total number of intake is 3,500. 4 campuses, 3 campuses in India and 1 is Dubai. How do I maintain the quality? I think technology plays an important role. How do I ensure that instead of 250, now it is 1,000 in a campus? How I see that 1,000 students are getting the same knowledge across the different teachers or something? Technology is important. What we try to do it, which I think schools and universities are very much important, we have a Cisco telepresence system classroom of 170 capacity, which is a fantastic video facilities like this type of screen, where teacher from one campus can teach the students of other campus if the teacher is not there. I'm not saying this is to reduce my manpower. I have a fantastic 1:16 faculty-student ratio in Dubai, but I don't have some expert who may not be in my campus, but it is in Pilani campus or Goa campus. We use that purpose, that expert, teaching a course throughout the semester, 3 weeks, 3 classes per week, using that technology where one-to-one interaction is possible. We are doing that one. So technology is very much important for scale up as well as covering a distance for that. I can give another example after if you ask. I'm taking one more example. See this admission for BITS Pilani 2005, we moved to BITSAT, which is called BITS Online Test. It was 170,000 students appear for 3,500 seats. Now tell me, selection process is an online test, but you know, test means result will come after 1 month, you may not know the marks. But BITS Pilani's online testing 2005 onwards, the moment student finishes examination at the end of 3 hours, he press the button that examination is over. On the screen, he gets his marks. Even IIT did not give it the marks that immediately you can get the marks. But BITS Pilani from 2005, it is immediately the student finishes the exam, on the screen he gets what is the score he has got. That means evaluation is done automatically online. This is the technology. Technology is not simply an iPad or a mobile, but how to utilize that for the effective teaching and learning, that is the technology. I can speak few more after.
So making the system more efficient in delivering education,
Exactly.
etc.
This is where I'm telling you, as I mentioned, you see this technology use also of a different nature. Why? When I said my on-campus students, 4 campuses are there, which geographically located, 3 places in India, one is north, another is west, another is the south, and one is in Dubai. We have 14,000 to 15,000 students across these 4 campuses, but we have another virtual campus. Virtual campus, I'm saying that is not a physical location. It is industry personnel who are pursuing degree program of BITS Pilani.
So no more geographic boundaries for
No,
classrooms.
about 20,000 students are doing the BITS Pilani program from different industries. You name anyone, they are student of that. But their classes are their officials, which is of different places. So Wipro have Wipro is a big customer, giving me 4,000, 5,000 students every year. They are in different locations. How do I teach them technology? But that technology and my TP classroom technology are not same, that there is a difference.
One question here. I think let's pass it to Professor Abraham. One question is, okay, we are embracing technology in how we educate today, right? But one argument or one challenge that schools have is meeting the really need of labor markets, okay? Aren't we graduating the right staff or right employees for the labor market, okay? Are we really meeting the demand of the market? Question here. One of the rising sectors is digital, okay? Digital disruption, technology, whatever you want to call it. Technology is one of the key sectors of the future. How are you adapting or your curriculums, adding new ones, canceling others? How are you mutating your curriculums to adapt to these rising needs?
Interesting. So Stanford University came out with a very interesting term for the 21st century professional. You know, in the earlier era, we used to call ourselves either a tech person, which is a left-brain person, or a creative person, who is a right-brain person. Now, there's a lot of research from neuroscience which tells us that you don't have a left or a right brain. We all have an amazing God-given brain, which has a left and a right side. And the other important thing is that we all have the power and capability to use both sides of the brain. Why is this important? So Stanford coined this term called the 21st century belongs to the whole brain person, who is a combination of the techie and the fuzzy. The techie being the analytical left brain, the fuzzy being the creative, intuitive, emotional brain. Today, a leading professional is somebody who combines both. And I'm recalling the presentation done by our freight forwarding speaker, who spoke a lot of technology, but then brought one whole slide which spoke about attitudes we look for. And if you carefully look there, almost all the attitudes were human, and it was not about technology. So I think the 21st century is looking for a combination of these two things. How do schools like us address it? 7 years back, we started technology centers. We are a world-known business school, where we started technology centers. We had a lab for blockchain. We have a lab for fintech. We have a lab for digital disruptions, technologies. We have a lab for AR, VR, so on and so forth. And then we realized we are isolating technology and business. So in the last few years, what we have done is we have got our accreditation for a program in bachelor's in data analytics and data science in business. Last year, we've got an approval for a master's in artificial intelligence in business. Now, these are programs that combine technology, the tech part of it, and the fuzzy part. And if organizations don't and institutions don't recognize this cross-functionality, we will be losing talent for the next era.
So AI, data analytics, and different new sectors are really the newcomers to the education. But these newcomers change dramatically year after year, if not month after month. Okay, so you have inventions, etc., etc. So change is extremely dynamic. How can you adapt to these changes?
Yeah, the expectation of the new generation students are totally different. So you cannot, that is where I was telling you that till if I go most of the colleges or universities, you find that 70s what picture was there in the classrooms are same. Today it cannot be, because today's generation, that's why they are not rather attending classes. If they find it is the same old system. So that's why that their technology is very, very useful there to attract them. Because if I teach bookish things, then they can read themselves from the internet or from the book. So thus what is important that I'm giving the example which I'm trying to do. Today we are using the smart board. It is not the equipment, but we are trying to connect the smart board with the student's mobile. That means if I'm teaching something, giving a problem to them, we are making the system where each student's mobile can be connected to the smartphone. And if a student feels something, he is having a different opinion or a particular answer or something, they can directly write on their mobile and it can be seen on the smart board. So other students will know this. You are asking some points on the students, so which is earlier or not much of something happening. So if you make that, new generation student will be more interested to participate in the class discussions through the mobile. And if it is a oral, you can say it can be done by orally also. But if it is a orally, one by one you have to go. But here, simultaneously 10 students can give a feedback to the particular topics, and coming on the smart screen, teacher will know. Then teacher can start a discussion that one. That is one unique thing.
So make it more interactive, etc.
More interactive, but not interactive in the classroom like talking, but through a technology where they can participate and feel interested that because I'm using my mobile. Similarly, if I conduct the test in the mobile instead of a pen and paper, we should do it. So during the class, suddenly I may say now 5 minutes or 10 minutes exam. Please click to this particular mobile app link and see the questions, answer it. It will be uploaded, I can evaluate it immediately after some time. This is where the interesting can be done, which we are trying to do it, definitely.
Okay, good one. Okay, I think we're running out of time. So to wrap it up, so technology is definitely changing. It pushes universities, schools to adapt to the change. And I think the next winner in terms of education will be those who are embracing technology in the future. So I think
Only I'd like to mention 2 points. The 2 problems are there. One, you saw just before our session that he was totally dependent on the screen from which he was reading. Suddenly the technology problem was there. He was unable to do anything. So it has to be rectified. Then he spoke again. I think here we have to be ready for that one. If technology flops, but teacher cannot say, I will not teach unless the technology is rectified. So teacher has to take forward. One is this. Second problem which we are facing is the mentality of the teachers. Most of the teachers would like to stay back in their comfort zone, do not want to adapt or embrace this technology. This is another big challenge.
So a robot teacher is the next wave.
No, I just want to add there, we have brought this. So what we have done is we have holographic avatars, which can come and, replicate the teacher, but you still need the human touch.
Right.
You still need the human presence of a human being who can be there to say, how did you learn? Are you feeling better? Which I think is best answered by, asked by a human being rather than a robot.
Perfect. Thank you both for that. So any questions? If not, we close it here. All right. Yeah. Do you have any mic here? If you can speak loud.
Oh, you can give it to her.
Thank you. I am an architect from India, and for the education and technology, I have 5 colleges, 1 school, and have industries. But one thing I have to get clarified with, the technology has to be improved to improve the quality of the student. But is the government permitting it? That's the first question. Anyway, we need manpower. Is the government permitting all the college owners to go on this electronic way of learning to make the student understand? So the portable, the island studies, like we have a good faculties there, we can teach them here. But is the universities and the government is permitting us?
You mean here or?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
See, I have 5 colleges in India. I have Fine Arts, Film Institute, Engineering, and those
What
stuffs
he's
and all.
saying, are governments resisting or regulators resisting this?
No, it depends on. See, for example, India and UAE on the forefront of technology. If you look at UAE, for example, it's one of the most advanced when it comes to adaptation of new technologies. So we have no restrictions. I'll give you an example. So we have started what we call, what Professor was describing, which was, I would say, 3 centers in India and 1 in UAE, which in itself is a challenge. It's not easy. We are talking about a campus in Singapore, a campus in Mumbai, a campus in Sydney, a campus in Dubai. Our students come from South America, I'm not exaggerating, from Mexico and Peru, and we have students from Asia, Vietnam and Indonesia. How do you connect both these guys? Today, technology can do that. Our Australian accreditation partner allows that, which is the government of Australia. We do it in Dubai, which means the government of Dubai allows it. We do it in Singapore, which means government of Singapore allows it. We do it from Mumbai, which means India allows it. So I think it's more a mindset change that is required. If the disruptors start doing things on their own, I think the answer is there. Because Steve Jobs said, it's the crazy people who think who can change the world who can actually change. So we need those crazy people around to do that.
Okay, good one. Professor?
No, because I have a clarification. So if I'm starting a film institute or a fashion institute in Dubai, can I run with the Indian accreditation or I have to go for another accreditation from Dubai?
Dubai has 2 systems if you just need that. One is called the UAE Central, Commission for Academic Accreditation, which is US-centric. Then you have the licensing model from the government of Dubai, KHDA, which is what both of us enjoy, which is typically a branch campus model. So if you're running something in India, you can happily run a similar program like what we do here.
So I can have the video camp classes also. Like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
these students in Dubai, I can have video classes from India.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it is permittable.
If it's required,
Okay,
exactly.
Okay, for the
Thank you.
sake of time, if we can take
Thank
this
you.
off the. All right, thanks. All right, thank you very much. Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you. No more questions? Right. Thank you very much.
A round of applause from our kind audience for our panelists. Thank you so very much, Anthony, for putting it all together so very well. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move on to our last segment for the evening, I'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Abdullah Al-Sheishi, Managing Director and Chief Consultant and Founder, National Advisor Bureau Limited. Please welcome him as he comes to tell us more about collaboration between India and UAE through innovative transport system. May I please request him to come forward? Ladies and gentlemen, may I please welcome Mr. Ashish Makhija on stage yet again. May I please request the kind presence of Mr. Rijoy Thomas, Chairman, Secure Cam IT Solutions, to join us on stage. Ms. Ashish Makhija joining us on stage to appreciate the good work done by Secure Cam IT Solutions. A round of applause. I request all of you to please put your hands together. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ashish. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure having all of you with us at the Economic Times India UAE Strategic Conclave 2019. We look forward to seeing you in our next edition. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the entire team of ETH, this is Isha Bhalla saying off and wishing all of you a very pleasant evening ahead. I once again thank all our partners and associations who supported us. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your kind presence. Thank you.